The story of the new Batman continued this week with the release of Absolute Batman number 9. By now, everyone and their mother is probably well aware that these stories take place in an alternate universe created by the evil new god Darkseid. I know I say it in pretty much every Absolute video and I'd like to stop doing so very soon, but for those that haven't been keeping up, here's the story so far. The Absolute version of Batman is quite different to what we've seen before. He isn't a wealthy industrialist with an array of gadgets and super fast vehicles. He's a civil engineer. He's the survivor of a mass shooting that claimed his father's life when he was a boy, and was understandably quite traumatized by the experience. His supporting cast is different too. There's no Robin, Batgirl or Commissioner Gordon. Instead, he's flanked by Secret Agent Alfred Pennyworth and his childhood friends Edward Nygma, Harvey Dent, Waylon Jones and Oswald Cobblepot. The first storyline dealt with the corruption in Gotham taking root as Roman Sionis Black Mask paid the citizens to riot, commit murders and ousted Mayor Jim Gordon to replace him with a flunky, Hamilton Hill. Even when Sionis' role was uncovered, it didn't actually change anything. The city still devolved into lockdown and the wealthy elites tightened their grip on the city. They are constructing a highly classified prison facility just off the coast of Gotham called Ark M, and many strange things are happening there. In the last issue, Batman had attempted to interrogate one of the researchers, Victor Fries, but learned that he had become a hideous beast who was blanketing the city in a strange snow to help them identify targets to experiment on. And one of their victims was Waylon Jones. In response to Batman's meddling, Joker, who is a humorless billionaire that seems to maintain his youth by literally draining the blood out of babies, decided to send in Bane. And that's where this issue picks up, with the introduction of Absolute Bane. There's been quite a lot of talk online about the character's design, particularly from Bane co-creator Graham Nolan, who called him an abomination. That criticism informed the title of this storyline. From the offset, it's very clear that this version of Bane is no mere brute. He's articulate, educated, and huge. So huge that he breaks the doorframe as he enters a room. He is on an assignment to break up the peace treaty between the nations of Kandak and Kurak, because it's in his employer's best interests if the nations remain at war. I like how his arrival was preceded by a pool of blood leaking under the door, indicating that he had killed to get there. I also enjoyed how he informed the presidents of the two nations that their peace talks are over because one of them has murdered the other, but they only have seconds to decide who gets to be the killer and who gets killed. While one is incredulous, the other quickly seizes the opportunity to survive. The fact that Bane is able to crush a human skull with one hand, and it isn't much effort, really says a lot about how powerful he is. Writer Scott Snyder recently appeared on Casually Comics channel, and he shared some more details about his version of Bane. Several of them aren't brought up in this issue, so I'll refrain from talking about them, but it's very clear that Bane is intended to be a parallel to Batman. They have very similar life experience and respond in a similar way to the cards that life dealt them. If you want to hear those specific details now, I've linked to that video via the info button in the top right corner, but I'll hold off from talking about them until they're revealed in the comics for those of you that are more sensitive to spoilers. So the thing that I find most striking about Bane is that he didn't use venom until the end of the issue. He's that big naturally, or at least it's his natural state now. It's not clear if he built that body through hard work or if he was surgically enhanced by one of the Ark projects. Probably Ark A if he still is from Santa Prisca. And he's not just strong, he's a very skilled fighter. Towards the end of the issue when he confronts Batman, he effortlessly defeats him. Not through brawn, but with precise strikes at nerve clusters paralysing Batman's limbs. When he does use the venom, he grows massively, and more resembles the Arkham games version of Bane. He's got to be at least 15 feet tall, and easily lifts Batman off the ground by the throat, and he says it's time to prepare Batman for surgery. Which is pretty ominous, considering all the weird and awful things they've produced at these Ark facilities. And we get a really good look at some of these things that are going down at Ark M in this issue. I mentioned earlier Batman's friend Waylon was kidnapped by the mysterious Men in Black and carted off to Ark M. When this issue opens, Batman is on a relentless campaign to find his friend, who has been missing now for 2 weeks. He's so actively brutalising the criminals that Gotham's emergency services can't keep up with the demand and have run out of ambulances. They're forced to resort to hiring cars, and one intrepid EMT named D. Grayson, wink wink, pedals around town in a rickshaw collecting the wounded and cursing Batman. Probably a Titans reference there. When his usual methods of interrogation turn up nothing, Batman has to seek help elsewhere, so he turns to Officer Gordon. Barbara Gordon, that is. He knows that she's a good cop, one of the few in Gotham, and she trusts him because he had saved her life back when the party animals attacked in issue 1. She informed him that, according to their records, Waylon had been arrested for violating the lockdown and has been taken to Ark M. What's strange is that the authorities have seized his possessions, including his gym, which suggests that they're not expecting him to come back. With this information, Batman and his friends plan a daring rescue that involves breaking into this highly secretive facility. Ark M is the 13th facility with 12 others across the globe. While construction only appeared to begin recently, in reality the project had been in the works since the 1930s. It's being constructed on the site of an old hospital that burnt down and was purchased by JK Industries. Get it? JK joke. This suggests that Joker has been active in Gotham since at least then, which is an interesting callback to an idea Scott Snyder presented during his earlier New 52 run on Batman, where he suggested that the Joker was some sort of elemental force of chaos that had been in Gotham for centuries. Given that we've seen the immortal Ra's al Ghul's Lazarus corpse selling youth to the ultra-wealthy, and Joker's own method of maintaining his youth, this probably shouldn't be too surprising to hear. One of the things I liked about this issue is how some of the new characters that are shown, like Deathstroke and seemingly Bane, are enemies of Alfred first and foremost. This evokes the most overlooked Batman show, Beware the Batman, where Alfred was a former spy whose rivalries with Ra's al Ghul, the League of Assassins, and Deathstroke were at the core of the series. Adding to that mystery is the fact that the building that is being constructed seems to be little more than a facade. The actual Ark M facility exists 100 meters, that's about 330 feet for those that don't do the metric system, below ground, and it is huge. This is the place that is essentially manufacturing Gotham's villains. We're shown what looks to be a Man-Bat's remains, but given that it's so far beneath Gotham, it could be Barbatos, the universe-consuming Bat-God. Given that these people seem to specialize in transforming human beings into hideous beasts, it doesn't take a huge leap of the imagination to guess what they're going to do to Waylon Killer Croc Jones. And this idea that Ark M is responsible for creating many of Batman's rogues feels like a reference to the Gotham TV show, where Hugo Strange's mad experiments on the patients of Arkham led to the creation of several supervillains. To be frank, this is probably the best thing to come out of that very uneven show, but that is a topic for another time. The next issue's solicitations say that Bane's true form will be revealed. Does this mean there's more to him than the hulking mass of muscle seen on the last page, or are they simply referring to his venomized version? I had originally thought that Bane might be a child who turns into a gigantic muscle man when taking venom, but that doesn't seem to be the case. However, the solicitations also state that Bane intends to break Batman, but in a way that will make us, the reader, bend backwards. Hopefully that's figuratively, not literally. Absolute Batman number 9 is available now from all good comic shops. If you are based in the UK and don't have a comic shop near you, then you might want to use my affiliate link with the UK's biggest comic book retailer, Forbidden Planet. I have included a link in the pinned comment on this video. Alternatively, if the idea of hoarding a collection of comic books fills you with dread, I just filled another box with Wonder Woman comics, oh no! You may want to try getting a digital copy of the issue from Amazon. I also have an affiliate link with them, which you could use to help my channel out. This is also included in the pinned comment. To those that have read the issue, what did you think? Are those of you that have been begging to see Dick Grayson satisfied with this cameo? Will this stop people asking for Absolute Robin? I hope so. Were you pleased to see adult Selina Kyle, even though it was very brief? And what do you think Martha Wayne and Jim Gordon are going to get up to next? Maybe they'll open a muffin stand. Yeah, right. Next time. As there's only one Absolute comic out this week and it's Pride Month, I'm going to release a video about the late Kevin Conroy's autobiographical short comic strip, Finding Batman. In this story, Kevin recounts how his chaotic upbringing and having to hide his sexuality helped him find his voice as Batman. And then next week, the story of Wally West continues in Absolute Flash number 4. Wally finds himself on the run and in Central City, alongside his new pal, the little green psychic monkey, Grodd. What could possibly go wrong? Hope to see you then.